So what's up, everybody? I'm joined here with, a great guest that agreed to come on and talk to us. He is Daryl from an episode of Family or Fiance, where there was some real interesting dynamics. The good brother reached out, saw a review that myself and Little Black Book did about a month ago, and said he would just love to chop it up with us. So, listen, as I'm springboarding my channel, Shawn Unfiltered, one of the things we love to do is really just hear people's insights, hear diverse perspectives. So I'm glad to have Daryl as the first guest here. And, just really to dive into, what led him to Family and Fiance, how he and his fiance, now wife, arrived at the process and where they are today. Just as you heard me allude, they are now married. So congratulations, Daryl, to you and Phillisia on your recent wedding. Beautiful wedding. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Daryl. Like, where you from, and a little about your background.
So I'm, as you are. First of all, thank you for having me. Excited to be your first guest. I didn't know that, so that's dope. Also, man, I'm from Louisiana, well-traveled. I stayed in New York, St. Louis. Now we're here in Dallas, Texas since about 2012. I'm a little brother to two older sisters. My mother were married. I was a drummer in the church. I was a PK's kid, so to speak. My grandfather was the pastor of the church. Went to college, and obviously it opened a whole new world for me. Now I'm a national broker with I don't tell what my job is, but I'm a father. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and this is my second marriage. So I was divorced before Phillisia.
Wow. Okay. So Daryl, you definitely you've lived you've lived a lot. You've
Exactly.
lived in different parts of the state. So that's awesome. So you said you have a daughter.
Yeah, the 6-year-old from my
Oh,
first
awesome.
marriage.
Oh, that's beautiful. So how did you even arrive to the point to get on Family or Fiance?
They recruited us through a comment on Instagram. They went to Phillisia's page and said, "Hey, would you guys like to come on?" And she said, so I guess she said, I don't know if she ever responded, but it led to a direct message. She slid in her DM, so to speak.
Mhm.
She didn't say, "Yo, look at this," and I was like, "Oh man, we thought it was like a joke. We thought it was, we didn't take it serious." And then we saw that someone we know that was here in Dallas that was actually on the show as well. They actually followed that page. I was like, maybe it's serious. And then lo and behold, it was. They started emailing and they began casting.
Awesome. So before you got on the show, because for the audience, some may have watched the show, some may have not. We're gonna leave that description to the episode down in the description box, so you all can check it out if you haven't seen it. But really, the premise of the show is a couple that's about to get married, and they come on and they want to get their approval from both sides of their respective families. What were there some things leading up to you and or right after you and Phillisia got engaged that made you think like, oh, this might be great for us to come on here and kind of flesh some things out? Or was that stuff that came in after the fact?
What are you saying, that we have a desire to be on TV or do television before they can't reach out to us, or are you asking the issues that took place on the show? I don't want to jump ahead of you. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that part, the issues. Like, was there something that had you both thinking like, oh, this would be good because it would help us with something?
Oh yeah, so we were already in counseling, like premarital counseling before the show, right? And so so Fee's birthday is her birthday is, I'm trying not to give too much information, but her birthday is a day after her birthday is the day before I propose. So she always said, "Yo, don't propose to me on a holiday. Don't propose to me on my birthday. That's cliche, blah, 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 blah." So I knew she wouldn't expect it on the day after her birthday, right? But that's what happened. Keith, assuming you're alluding to Keith's situation, right? I
Right.
like to address the elephant in the room, get direct to the point. But
Yeah, yeah.
Keith, he and I had an exchange at her birthday party, which was after I proposed, right? Day after I proposed. I thought it would be a good idea to hash it out because he and we never had an issue. I never thought he was trying to pursue her. He pretended to be a solid guy point. It was never an issue where I thought he wanted to be with her. Everything that you guys find out would happen literally right there on the show. So when she's
Hmm.
saying the whole, oh, not until this day, I found this out until this day, she's not being like, she's dead ass serious. Like nobody knew.
Gotcha.
Her mom did. If you look back on the show, her mom is the one that needed a card. I'll get back to that, but the issue was he had gotten to it with another guy's. He, he got into it with my wife had the birthday party. The DJ was a female, right? Her husband was there with her. He got into it with that guy because he thought he was trying to pursue his wife, right? The issue that did happen at the day. This is why I kind of wanted to, fill in the holes up. So my friend didn't tell me about the. I saw the exchange between Phillisia and Keith at the day party, right? So Keith walks up to me, hey, what's going on? Where's Fee at? And I'm like, oh, we call her Fee. That's her nickname.
Hmm.
I was like, oh, over there. And so like anybody with normal, when you're in a social environment, you'll point and you'll look to see if the person made it to the other person. As I'm doing this, he does the whole I'm a grind behind her thing, right? She turns around and she's like, black girl, she's gone. She's like, oh, what are you doing? Like she's checking him, and so my girl doesn't like to be public embarrassed, man. So I know this. So I peeped it and she handled it. It was nothing else. When we left the venue, I was like, yo, she was like, I'm so glad you didn't go off and go crazy. I was like, no, I saw it. Neither one of them knew that I even saw that until I got so nobody told me this. I saw it for myself. Yeah, I think one of you guys said that my friend told it to me. It was at my
Hmm.
friend's day party, yes, but my friend never
Gotcha.
told it to me. I saw it for myself. But that made me never trust Keith. Now that happened before me and him had the exchange. I had to go backwards to come forward. Sorry about that. But that happened before we had the exchange. He didn't even knew that I knew about that. You see what I'm saying? So I just knew like I would never deal with it. And so I would never trust him. I would never be friends with him or whatever. I would respect, their friendship or whatever, but I would never like me and him are never gonna rock with each other like that. Fast forward, he had the exchange with another friend at the same birthday party, right? To my friend's wife, and she drops something on the floor or something, and he tries to like pick her up or grab her arm, and her husband says, "Hey, she's good. Like, what are you doing? She's good." At that particular time, I did not know. First of all, I never even saw that happen, right? This was told to me after the fact. I'm talking about days later, right? And he told my friend, I'm cool with him and his wife. He told me this after the fact, but at that party, his wife came to me and said, "Hey, who's this guy?" And he's like creeping me out, like, "Who is this guy?" Right? It was Keith. So in my mind, you're the common denominator. I seen you do this with my own eyes back in
Hmm.
the gap. Like we addressed all of this on the show, but they didn't show this. But I call these the fractions, right? One, you pretended or you grind on fee, fee checked you. You didn't know I knew about it. Me and her about it as we should. I'm in a relationship with her, right? The second time was you tried to grab my. What you don't know is that he shot at my homie's wife at a proposal party, was there. So I proposed. There was a party. We partied all weekend, man. I proposed. There was a engagement party after the proposal.
Hmm.
He tried to like shot at means like he tried to holler at her, right?
Right.
So he tried to holler at her at that party, and now this is the day where he's trying to friendly flirt, and she's uncomfortable with it, right? So her husband sees it, and now I don't want to put like make him out to be a bad guy. He already is that guy, but I do want to say that he did apologize to these people, right? And
Hmm.
then, but at the time, just giving it to you in real time, right? So he did basically he and I got into it right at the end of the night. I'm putting out fires at this point. When he gets into it with the DJ's husband, I'm literally talking to Fee's dad right in front of it. Her dad is right there. He's right there, set up in the middle of the floor. Like, let's go. I walk up to the DJ. I'm like, hey, man, stay professional. You do a job. And then this is when he starts telling me, I can see everything from the DJ booth. He's putting his hands on my wife's back. And, he's trying to hit on my wife, blah, 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 blah. His wife says the issue or whatever. I mean, but not at the time. She said this days later after, So at the time, what I told, I was about to say Fee, what I told Keith was, hey, bro, he was walking up to me as I was talking to Fee. This is like basically all his broken loose at this point. I'm walking back in the venue, just finished talking to this guy. I said, my friend wife already approached me. I seen you with my own eyes. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, bro, you're the denominator. Out of all the guys in here is you, right? So I was like, Keith, as he was walking up, Keith, I don't even want to talk to you right now. We could talk later, right? He said, this is what he does, bro. He said, we ain't got to talk. We ain't got to talk. And then across the world, it doesn't matter, bro. We know what that nonverbal means, right?
Yeah.
I said, okay, this is my fiance's first day of being a fiance. This is her event. I want to remember she doesn't like me to get like crazy or out of control, just embarrass her and make we're a representation of each other. I totally respect that. So, and because it's her birthday and celebrating our engagement, I'm not about to be that guy at this event, right? So I walk out, my guys walk out, I go sit on the car, a whole nother thing escalated. But point was, I have to keep since that point. So on the show, when he says, oh, why haven't you talked to me all this time? Well, the last time you said we ain't got to talk. So what are we having a conversation for? Like, you waited till now to have a conversation? So I'm thinking that he's coming on the show to rectify that. You see what I'm saying? All the other stuff is like, yo, what? So it was crazy, man.
So just to get some context. So you had between her birthday party and your engagement, that was all like over a weekend.
Yes, right? So I proposed to her on a Friday night. Her birthday party was on a Saturday. Just like, and a year later, we had the wedding, which is, if you watch my engagement video, I say two people coming together as one. 8 is the number of new beginnings. 2, 1. That's what I was doing, right? So August the 21st, I chose that date. It just was in good timing. A lot of people were coming in town, and more came once they knew that she was already celebrating her birthday. Right, it was already a big thing. So I was like, yeah, I could pose the day before her birthday. It's not on her birthday. It works out, right? We were there to celebrate her. So that Friday night I proposed. Her birthday party was Saturday night.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, the first incident, just so that I'm clear, the first incident where you peeped him trying to, grind on Fee, that first incident took place that same weekend, or that was a different that took place another time.
That took a year, actually like 2 years earlier.
Oh, okay. All right. So that was 2 years. It was 2 years before you noticed it. You didn't say anything. You allowed, Fee to check him. And now fast forward, there's another event with somebody else's wife.
Exactly.
Where he was inappropriate. So like you said, yeah.
Yeah, this is I've already extended grace. You know what I mean? I just know, like, in my heart, I'm never gonna trust you. And my girl knows that I'm not right. But I should say, like, at Keith literally, he wasn't breaking man law, man. It was obvious as it was on the show, right? He would reach out to me, he wouldn't talk to Fee. It would go without talking to Fee. He would call me before he called Fee. And to the point was Fee was like, yo, you supposed to be my dog. And he was like, oh, well, you got a man now, so I'm trying to be respectful. He was doing all of those things. So it literally was a shock to us. We saw him. I didn't see him as solid because of what he did at the day point, because I was her friend. And I was like, yo, I'm never going to rock with this guy like that. But at the same time, I could extend grace. Maybe he was being playful. You know what I mean? At that time, that's how I was thinking. I was like, maybe he was just being playful, so I let it go. But once I saw the two things happen back to back, I was like, bro, that's you. That's who you are. And I let
Yeah.
it go. But now I see like you really are that guy.
So listen, I want to go back to the first offense that you saw. Now, I gotta say, and that's something that even when Kojo and I did the review of the episode, we saw your restraint. And listen, I'm by no means, I'm no violent dude. I'm not out here getting into fights as a grown man at all, right? But we know as men there are certain things that trigger us, and certain things that we can just easily peep and be like, you know what, that's that person's moving wrong. So tell me, like, what about you allowed you to maintain your cool after seeing him act inappropriately? Although Fee definitely checked him the way she should have. How did you maintain your cool and not address that immediately? Like, what was going through your mind, and what about you allows you to manage your emotions in that way?
And like I said, man, I've been married before, and I didn't always handle things like I would now. So I've been blinded by anger before. I've been the guy to punch, and fight and put holes in the wall and all of that. If I read this in a 50 Cent book, right? Like he was talking about in the 50 Laws of Power, he was talking about like as black men, we have to navigate our emotions in a sense where anger is the easiest thing. Like if you're the guy in the hood, you either being bullied or you're not trying to be bullied. But the guy in the middle that learns how to navigate it, you don't know where he's coming from. You have to learn how to master that so that I can move in this part of life. So I don't want to always, yeah, I don't always want to be lashing out emotionally or come across as knee jerk reactions and being impulsive. So and you got to understand, this is my friend's party at the time. Like everybody knows I'm friends with him. So if I just run up to this guy and shut it down, like now I put my friend in a bad spot as well because he's coming. You see what I'm saying? We're about to clean house. So I don't want to look for him. So I have to approach it in a different way. But thank God she approached it like she should have. So it was nothing. And because I trust her that much, it was okay to say, you know what? This is you get reassurances along the way. I don't look for things that I didn't look for things that made her a wife, things that didn't make her a wife. That's why I married her. I look for the red flags.
Yeah, man, I think that's dope. And you said a couple of things that just like rang, so true to me. In terms of that would be the thing that's gonna, help you maintain your constitution. So you talked about reading books. So is that something you do normally? Is that a part of your everyday life where you're reading?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I read a lot, man. I worship. I'm a believer. I told you I was raised in the church, so I like to be in control of me. I don't like other things to control. So Keith was never getting to me, bro. Keith stepped in hell and didn't realize it. I don't think he wits with me. He wasn't intelligent enough to talk to me. It was to y'all, it looked like he was antagonizing, but the whole time, if you really notice, in every scene on the show, I'm laughing. I'm like super calm. I'm laughing. Only scenes I'm serious is when I'm talking to him. Just because I want him to know, like, bro, like, what are we doing, bro? You are who you are. You were, like Jay-Z says, you were who you were before we got here.
Yeah. No, man, I think that's that again. I think that is absolutely dope. And it speaks more about you than it does about him, right? And I think that's the message that you were conveying, especially and we didn't get to really dive that deep into it, but the fact that we as people of color, as black men especially, we don't always get the best rap on TV, right? Especially reality television. And here you were faced with a difficult, situation,
This is like the
after
cardinal
everything that you knew.
sin, man.
Yeah.
Right.
So I just think it was dope the way you maneuvered that, and your mindset, in terms of how you processed through it, how you allowed your emotions to be in check. So for me, that's awesome, and I'm just so glad we got to like dive into that, because we're seeing a little snapshot of what's playing out on TV, and we don't know what's going on behind, right? So
Yeah, man. We were there a week, man. So we we were there a week. Y'all had to see 45 minutes. Now we did. It was now we filmed 3 days, but we were the whole process took takes a week, right? We did 72 hours straight. So y'all saw 45 minutes of 72 hours. Make a long
Wait a
story.
second.
It
Let's
was we
rewind
talked we
this. Y'all were there for you were in the same house with him for 7 days.
no 72 hours.
Oh,
72 hours.
72
No,
hours is
no,
what you
no.
filmed. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
All right. I was
yeah.
like, bro,
But
I don't know if I
yeah,
could do it. All right, so 72 hours
no.
of filming. Um, so you were able to you clocked what you saw. You always knew from that moment on that there was always something that didn't sit right with you about that whole situation. Did you and Fee ever talk about that afterwards, about like her relationship with him, and did you ever express like you're uncomfortable with him, based on, oh,
We
I think yeah, no, you saw her. Did you
we
discuss
did
rather?
we we did, but it wasn't that particular time. It was like we're on the same page. It was like, yo, I saw
Mm-hmm.
you checking. You know what I mean? Because when I walked over, her friend was like, "You did like she was born. She wanted me to do Keith something. You see what I'm saying? She was
Mm-hmm.
like, yo, he walked over here like he's so lame. Like she's saying stuff like that, and Fee was like, yo, I handled it. And I was like, yeah, I know, I saw it. And I went, y'all want something to drink? Like we just kept going. It was like, yeah. And so when we got in the car, she was like, thank you so much for not, going crazy. Like, and this is
Mm-hmm.
you gotta understand, it's at the beginning of her and I's relationship. So
Oh,
I don't,
okay.
like I told you, I'm fearful of being stagnant and not knowing that I'm doing an insane uh, thing, like the definition of insanity. Like I don't want to do the same thing over and over. I have a daughter to raise, so my composure is credited to those things. Like I'm not trying to embarrass my family. My daughter may see this one day, and I need to show growth in this area because the first way I did it wasn't an example of how I was raised or who I wasn't. I think I kind of answered your question, but to elaborate a little further, like we did have discussions in detail. I'll keep like, hey, like this was after the whole "we ain't gotta talk" incident. You see what I'm saying? So this was
Mm-hmm.
before the show, before we were casted. It was like, I was like, hey, if anybody ever did that to you, it's zero tolerance. I'm not defending anybody, but you know, she took it as like I have the audacity to be upset because he stepped to me after I came at him. She was thinking that like I was trying to fight him. I was like, no, babe, he was coming at me. But she didn't take it as we were trying to fight each other. She took it as those are words. He's not trying to. I'm like, nah, babe, no. This is what it is. My
Right, right.
fiance, bro, as you can see, like she will defend if she thinks she's right. She's going to defend regardless if she's right, wrong, indifferent. If she feels a little inkling of being right, she's gonna latch on to it, and that's gonna get. We're having an ongoing conversation off camera, like not literally. We're not talking about it, but it's like a ongoing conversation between her and I. Meant like so she's defending her position like a debate that y'all watching without words. She's defending her position of the conversation we've had long ago about, bro, this is why you shouldn't be friend person. And I'm sitting there like, you know what? Okay, well, I if she's one of those people, she has to touch the stove. Like she has to touch the stove to see. That's why I don't trust her. I don't. That's the other thing, man. Like just sidebar. I said her naiveness. I said I don't even know if that's a word, and I'm a writer, man. So that bothers
Mm-hmm.
me. I write poetry, I write plays, scripts, everything. But yeah,
Oh, cool.
so that yeah. I was joking with her sister. I was like, I don't even know if that's a word, but yeah. Um, it was, man. We enjoyed it. We enjoyed it, man. We talked about it a lot. Now we're on one accord. We never really was against each other. It was just she had her perception of it, I had mine, and
Mm-hmm.
because we our band is we like debating each other on different things. That was her way of standing her ground. Even if
Okay.
she wasn't ever defending him, it came across as she was defending him, but she didn't want him to look. She didn't want to believe he was the lame guy he was. That's really what it
Right.
was. She didn't want to believe that he was that lame. Like she couldn't bring herself to saying like he's only been cool with me. He's only been like if I needed him, you know what I'm saying. She did is that this was before I existed, by the way. We'll talk about the favors line, all of that. But yeah.
Got you. Yeah, no, I think that um, you definitely showed some strength in the way that you navigated each different step. That first step, in the sense of seeing something but not immediately addressing it, trusting her to handle it, and then fast forward to a year or two later, where he shows out at the other person's event. So I think that's cool how you could see you could see things happening and how they were playing out for you, and then seeing his character, but waiting almost for her to catch up to where you were. You talked about, and I also love that you guys did that. I think that is a critical step, for couples. It's something I wish I would have done. You mentioned being married and divorced. I too was married and am now divorced. So those are some of the things, as I'm hearing you talk, I'm like, wow, yeah, that's something that I definitely, if I were go down that path again, I want to make sure we do that. So was it your background in the church that made it important for you to do premarital counseling with Fee?
Yeah, it was, man. It was. I'm not gonna lie. It was a lot of that. But it was also because I was divorced. It was like, I need to know who you are for real. Like, I don't know if this is a front, and I don't know if, like, are you really this way? Like, when certain situations happen, is that really you? And that's what counseling taught us. You know what I mean? So we learned like different. Our counselor was amazing, man. But we learned different things. Like, the most important thing to me is respect, and the most important thing to her is trust. Which is ironic because it looks like I'm being disrespected the whole entire time. So, man? It's a beautiful conversation to have, man. I just wanted to make sure that I go into the situation like I always tell myself, like, when people say, what did you learn from your last marriage to this marriage, right? I don't want to make the same mistakes, obviously, but I go into this situation like I don't know anything. I'm just learning. I don't want to be a know-it-all. I don't want to be that guy. I'm just learning. So whatever I learn now, I adjust later. Whether no matter that's, to me, that's complete humility. No matter what it looks like in the moment, like I feel like the mantle God places us on is to, as a man, is to stand up and keep the family moving forward. That don't Not to be distracted by this moment in time. Like, producers came to me and pulled me to the side and say, "Yo, yeah, they're trying to paint you out to be the villain. They saying you're the angry guy, you're controlling, you're insecure." I don't see that. Literally, is what a producer told me. And she could have that producer could have been trying to put a battery in my back to attack somebody, but at the same time, that was just honesty to me. You know what I mean? Like, it rang
Mhm.
true because I knew who I was, my family knew who I was, and so that's why they're like, you can't talk through difficult situations. You're talking about a guy that was co-president on a debate team. Like, he's
Yeah.
a writer. You know what I mean? Like, he's a slam poet. Are you serious? It is what it is.
Yeah, no, I think that and that's the part, like, when we're watching these shows, is know that in many instances there's a narrative being pieced together, right? Because you guys were shooting for 3 days. So they picked and chose which content they were going to put together. And I empathized with you because I could see that part of you, because I've been in similar situations where I'm seeing something as one thing, trying to convince, my spouse of another. She's not hearing it. And we kind of go back and forth. So I just like how you navigated that, because it's not easy to do that, let alone in front of cameras and with a bunch of different eyes on you weighing in terms of what you should and shouldn't do.
It's not, man. And I like to pride myself as a smooth brother. It's not though. But you gotta understand, like, I'm trying to have a man to man with Keith, but her mom is sitting directly across from me. It's hard to be macho in that setting, and as well as the moms are there the whole time. So it was crazy, man. It was something that you said earlier that I wanted to come back to, but dang, I forgot. Go ahead.
So I think you just mentioned something too, that the I think the way you handled yourself is masculine, is macho, because that takes control. And for men, we are supposed to be the protectors, the providers, right? And especially knowing that you're a believer, as am I, that's built into, our core, and our principles as believers in God, right? So that part, that is a man, that is the ultimate. And for me, that was the part that kind of was like, wow, like to be able to hold yourself after you already see it. It's not even like a gut feeling. You've seen it, you're watching it play out, and now the dude is also starting to lie. So that
Oh
for
man,
me is
it
like,
was crazy.
oh man, like,
Bro, it was crazy. They stopped scenes literally. Anybody on the show will tell you this. They stopped scenes and said, "Keith, we don't care about that, man. We're trying to get past that." Like you and then, bro, I can't say too much, but they literally came to us and was like, "Yo, this guy is lying. This is like, I this is this was said. He's saying stuff right now while I'm talking to y'all. Like, this guy is lying. They literally called him out for lying several times. He was really just spiraling out of control at a point. Not to like beat a dead horse, because obviously everybody's mad at Keith. People are mad at me. It is. I've gotten feedback, like you just said, from a lot of close friends, people I don't know. It's like, bro, you showed a lot of patience. Like a lot of people say that, but you
mm-hmm,
showed patience, but more so like I didn't. Man, I hate to say this. This is why I wanted to talk to both of y'all at the same time. But it's just the facts of the matter. Like, we're in the Me Too movement, right? And
mm-hmm,
like we're gonna be in it forever at this point. But no shade to women. I love women, but some things come across the wrong way, and it's not articulated the right way. And then the man is like, oh, like when I said like, oh, I'm insecure all of a sudden. I'm controlling because I have a voice. Like, I feel like the Me Too movement has encouraged that type of behavior.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? And I'm on a females network, so I can't get on there and be the hot-headed guy. That's not gonna work. As well
right,
as that feeds right into the narrative of, oh, that's why he's yelling. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm,
And then with my wife, man, it was never. I was never gonna yell at her. Like whatever. However, me and her address each other. Like, she's upset. She's seeing, like, my wife sometimes processes things as anger, bro. That, like, it's just it hurt as anger, right? So she'll see something that hurts her, and she's not going to cry about it. She's going to like bark back,
mm-hmm.
which I love that about her. But at the same time, the things that make us good can also there's a bad side to it. So that's just one of the things, man.
Yeah, I think you touched on something, right? Because and being in this YouTube environment, and now starting off my new channel, one of the things that we or at least that I say often is we got to let men be men, and not in the toxic way, right? And I think the Me Too movement is around because there are some men that abuse their power, abuse their privilege. However, we can't swing that pendulum so far off that every time a man acts as a man, or reacts in a way, to protect or to point out things that he sees as problematic, and maybe it's with passion, that now you're being controlling or you're being aggressive. Because the same way that we have these a lot of movements out right now that are protect Black women, and yeah, Black women do need to be protected. There's a lot of tropes and stereotypes out there. The same for Black men. And I love that
Mm.
you brought that out. Like, you had to see things in big picture in real time. I'm on a network, I gotta realize what perception of me is gonna look like. So I think that's spot on, because that just shows the mindset, right? And this is how good men, good brothers are out here operating in the world. So I'm curious to see, like, how you and Fee worked through that, like how you were eventually able to have a conversation about everything that happened on the show, and how you both feel about how you
Same,
both felt
same.
about it in the end.
It's starting to be a common theme, man. But the same thing I learned in my previous marriage, man. Like, don't be that "I told you so" guy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's hurt. She feels betrayed. It hurts worse because she's defending him and he's 100% wrong. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
you're not even like 5% right. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's like, yo, what? So, and I get it. You know what I mean? Like again, it is the cardinal sin. Like, your girl is supposed to cut heads off for you. She's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be a lioness, a queen, right? She's supposed to protect her king. I get it, but you're getting in a vulnerable state. We're going there for counseling. So my mindset is also calm because there's going to be a resolve here. I'm not about to yell and argue and all. I can do that with the best of them, but it'll be resolved. I literally told him on the show, like, yo, bro, you realize, like, I used to play football, and so my coach used to say, the eye in the sky don't lie. Whatever you do on this camera, bro, people will see. Like I told him, man, yo, the eye in the sky don't lie, man. Like you realize, like, Fee is going to see this one day, or people are going to see this, right? Like you just making up shit. As far as the kiss, this is what happened. He said, this is why they're laughing. He said, like, people are like, oh, why is that sister laughing? Like, they're laughing about something entirely different, right? But that's her way of asking him in a slick way, like, no, answer the question. Because he was beating around the bush, right? And I think your boy said he was paltering, right? So he'll release a different truth. But, bro, it's so many things on this topic that's crazy that it's just like, yo, you're foul because you could have just said your truth early on and we could have moved to another topic. We talked about finances on the show. We talked about my daughter. We talked about my relationship with my mother, Fee's relationship with my mother. We talked about my relationship with her family. Like we talked about a myriad of like various different topics, right? And they only honed in on the one thing. So I felt like it was a disservice because it was a great conversation to have in the community, like in our culture, but this is a great conversation as well. So back to the kiss thing though. So he says, he asked him, did they kiss in a little confession, right? And when they're sitting on the couch, he's with her mom. Her mom is sitting between him and her sister. And he says, oh, we did. Yeah, we kissed. It was what he said was we kissed, right? Then he off camera, he tells her mom, nothing ever happens. I promise. You have my word. Nothing ever happened. Like, because her mom doesn't we don't know what each person is being asked. They separate everybody. So you don't know what everybody's being asked, right? Like even me and Fee, we don't know the questions that they're asking Fee. She doesn't know what they're asking me. You find out when you get on the show because obviously producers are going to do their job and make you say what you told them. Nobody's telling nobody what to say. Nobody's paying anybody extra what to say. You know what I mean? Like it is what you said. It's authentic. It really is authentic. Now, how they edit it is a little different, but you know, it is what it is. You still said what you said, right? So, make a long story short, he says, "Oh," he tells her mom. Then they get on the couch, and he says, "Oh, it was a kiss." And then he's like, so then he gets in front of me, and her mom again. If you go back and watch, her mom asked me this question. Her mom is mad, bro. Like go back when he says that. Her mom is just like stone faced. She's pissed off because she knows this guy. Like, you know what I mean? She's known him longer than she known me because of college. They went to college together. So her mom knows, like, I know she doesn't want to be with him. Like, I know that. Like, Fee's not the type of person, I'm tangenting off a little bit, but bro, I've literally kicked it with people that my girl has dated. You see what I'm saying? Like, and super cool. I've even invited some of them to the wedding, which she was like, "No, that's weird. You're going too far. You're too cool." You know what I mean? Like, so, it's no. She's not the type of person to lie about superficial things.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
If she's the type of person that'll tell you some shit like and hurt your feelings, like you don't want to hear. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's who she is. So I'm overconfident. I'm almost arrogant in this regard because I know, like, I tell him on the show, like, bro, if I wasn't here, even if I didn't exist, she would not want to be with you, which is the truth. Because if all of this happened 12 years ago, my dog, you've been waiting 12 years until this moment. Anyway, man, fast forward. He said her mom hands me the card, right? Her mom says, how did you feel when you found out they kissed or whatever? She had just found out, right? Because he said it on the couch. What he said, so I said, "Oh, it's news to me. I didn't know they kissed." And he started explaining himself, and he says, "Oh, well, it was a kiss on the cheek." I don't even remember the date. I swear, hey man, listen, I would not lie. He says it's a kiss on the cheek. It wasn't a kiss on the lips. It was a kiss on the cheek, right? And so he then says, that's when I say, yo, see those. I look to her sister and I say, see those type of games. That's why I would never ever respect them. That's why I'm saying that. I'm not saying that because he told me they kissed. I'm saying that because he's playing with words. Like he's not being specific and he's trying to make it look bigger than what it is. Like you're blowing something out of proportion that it doesn't have to be that way. And Bro, it's so many. I can't wait till you talk to my wife, man, because it's so many other things to this. Like it's crazy, bro. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
we're definitely going to, me and Kojo will link up with you, and we would love to get, you and Fee together. So, we'll definitely, set that up in the very near future. I want to get back to something that you said, and this for me, and I know I could talk to you like this because we are both believers, right? You talked about what you saw, your confidence in Fee, and understanding how you could trust her, right? And you talked about the way both of you want to be loved and what's important. What and and to me it just kept ringing out, and you said like even after all of this you were conscious of not being like I told you so, which many of us would say, and feel and move with just from sheer frustration. And the scripture just comes back to me like love covers a multitude of sins, right? So that's
Yeah.
that the love that you have for her, bro, like it is not just lip service, it is how I see how you move. Like that's how I'm like clocking everything that transpired and then hearing you talk. So what's the love story with you and her? Like how did you meet her? And how did you fall in love with her?
Yo, by the way, man, my mom used to say it a little different. She's an evangelist, right? She love covers a multitude of faults. So I was that's in me. That's like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't go anywhere. But and, Second Corinthians. That's all. I have pillows with that love is patient, kind. No record of wrongdoing, all of that, right? So that is in me. But um, to switch gears, like me and Fee, we fell in love, like literally, bro. It was love at first sight. No lie, it was love at first sight. Oh yeah. By the way, when she says he's not my type, she was dating like different races, so she wasn't attracted to black men.
Wow.
Yeah, man. We got to clear that up, man.
Well, we
So
gotta we
that's
gotta speak
yeah,
on because
yeah, man. She
that's
was
a
she
whole
wasn't,
nother
but
onion. That's
and
another layer.
also we were dating two other people, so I wasn't attracted to her. She wasn't attracted to me because our mindsets wasn't on that. We
Mm-hmm.
were entirely engulfed in the conversation we were having until later. Obviously, I mean it was a short term. Like probably in that conversation we saw the attraction. You feel what I'm saying? But it was purely like, yo, her language and what she's talking about, her whole conversation is the only thing that I see for my life. That's who I want to deal with. So I'm listening to her, and along the way, like it's about her proving herself, me proving myself to her holding me accountable. No woman has ever did that for me. No woman has been able to be like, yo, I see that BS coming from a mile away, brother. Like, come on, that's not who you are. I hold you. So when I hold you to a higher standard, like that's real. Like her saying that, like that's not a like a pass off to like to kind of get the heat off of her or to push the conversation to the side or deflect is what I'm looking for. She's not trying to deflect when me and Keith are going back and forth, and she was like, "I have to go home with you, not him, and I hold you to a higher standard or whatever." She's told me that in the house before, bro. Like it literally, like about Keith. Like when I say, "Yo, he kind of overstepping," you don't think that's disrespectful? I'm talking about the fight scenario, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And she was like, "Babe, I care about your reaction. I don't care about that you said she used another word, but I don't care about his reaction." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, okay, and I'm not a super Christian either, bro. Like, I'm definitely a sinner. You know what I mean? I fall
We,
down,
bro,
but
bro, we
I don't.
we all are. Don't you know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like we
yeah.
all
So
are.
I'm just saying I don't want to come across just because I know the Bible well, and I grew up in church. I'm not super holy either. Like I'm as a reality check is what I'm trying to get at. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know if a girl is trying to play me. I know if
Mm-hmm.
it's not. Oh, I was a churchgoer my whole life, and I believe in God so much that I believe anything a woman to say. I'm not that guy.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I'm pretty savvy in that department, and this is how me and feet wound up together. But I trust her, bro. Like for me, if I didn't trust her, I couldn't love her. The way she deals with my daughter, there's a time like I told you earlier, like I look for things that didn't make her a wife. I could never find, like her mom asked me one time we was out to eat, and she was like, "Why did you want to marry my daughter?" And quite frankly, I could never find a reason not to marry her. I always saw, like, it was a time like I was warring with. She's the only child, right? I'm the only boy in my family, so we're both a little spoiled. But she when I say her level of spoil is more so her cousins, her uncle, her whole entire family spoils her, right? So it's like she's like that child in the family. Like if she does something, everybody
Mhm.
moves. Um, Make a long story short, I was thinking like, yo, this girl is really selfish. It's like, you know, I was sitting in my car in the garage. And I was like, yo, she's very, very selfish. And I was worrying with like, God, you know, I don't want to be impulsive. So before I end this, or before I start moving a different way, like, you know, like, let me bridle my tongue and let me, you know, lean not to my own understanding, so to
Mhm.
speak, right? And I bullshit you not. She pulls up with a car full of clothes for my daughter, bro. She was shopping for my daughter in that moment where I thought she was being selfish.
Wow.
Like you can't beat that. You know what I mean? Like I was like, I'm glad I didn't go off on her because I would have been wrong, and I would, you
Mhm.
know what I mean? That was an apology that I didn't have to use, so it was cool.
Bro, I think you touched. There's a couple of things that you touched on that I think are super important. I was chopping it up with one of my boys, and he's like a brother to me. He lives in North Carolina, him and his wife, and they have two kids. Um, and we were just talking about that because I grew up in the church too. In my early 20s, I was heavily involved in the church, taught teen group, and we navigated that. Like, and then as we went into adult life, obviously, again, nobody's perfect. You're young, you're dating, you got a career. It's gonna bring certain things, right? And but it still doesn't take away from the core. And even as you're talking, you're dropping scripture, but because that's part of your foundation, that's because of who you
Exactly.
are. We don't got to be holy, and we see people that are quote unquote holy all the time in the church,
And they are
and
not.
we know the scandals, right?
Right,
So
right.
at the end of the day, we all fall short, is my point. So I think your actions to me are what stand out, and what the foundation of those actions are who you are in God, and then how you were raised to be. But I love the story about you getting upset with her about something that you thought was happening, but then how she surprised you, and got something for your daughter, because I think that's the part. And I know we were tough on her. So respect to you, because
She
for
deserved it though,
coming
bro.
coming to
Like
us, with an
she
open heart to talk it, because
she
we were
deserved it,
tough
man.
on Fee. So
She
that's the once you
deserves it, but
shared that
she can
story.
handle it though.
I don't
She
know if I
deserves
want
it,
to
bro.
smoke. I don't know,
Yeah,
bro.
no,
I'm gonna
no,
leave
no,
that
bro,
to
no,
you.
no, no lie, no lie. We knew what we were signing up for. We knew. I honestly, we thought I would be the villain,
Hmm.
and well, no, I didn't. Well, neither one of. I'll say this. I thought I would be the villain. I thought she would be the villain, and I was like, listen, whatever it was, I was truthful. I felt like I got everything I needed out of that show. You know what I mean? Like I felt Bridges was, bro. With the in the room with Tracy, like that looks fake on camera, but I'm telling you, it was an hour and it was probably like an hour and 10 minute conversation, and she was crying that whole entire time,
Mm.
like the whole entire time. And it was other things that were exposed in that one moment that it was like, wow, this is. I even told Tracy, I was like, yo, this is real. Like I thought this was. I told Fee, I was like, yo, I thought you was being fake for a second, because when you're behind the cameras, bro, like like you everybody prides themselves on being real, right? But now you see like that's a little phony. Like why is he doing that? And you don't know if a producer done pull somebody to the side and they coming out. You like yo, what is his angle? Like it's like a game for real. Like you don't know
Hmm.
who what's going on. You don't know who to trust. You're in there like yo, what's happening right now? So when I everything was in that room, it was some real moments. I will say, like Tracy's a TV host as well as a TV counselor, so obviously she had to do some things for production. But for the most part, man, she was given like it was too fluent for her not to be saying real things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you said that, because I watched the show, and have watched the show since it started because of her. Because I got like an authenticity from her. I too have been in therapy before, so it registered to me the way that she speaks, and it seemed like, like some therapists on a lot of these shows, either they're biased, or either they're playing up to the cameras. Some of them are not even real therapists in terms of profession. So
Right.
I'm glad to hear you confirm that, she was able to really help you guys navigate a part of that process.
Yeah, man, they really, I thought it was bogus, bro. Obviously it's a reality show. They want the drama, but they really were trying to get they did what they needed to make it hot, and they did what we needed to grow in our relationship as well. It's just the growth part of it that we would have liked y'all to see. They showed the dramatic side of it, so
Mm-hmm.
which makes sense because that's what people, it's social media. It's based on negativity, so I get it.
So obviously you guys are married now, right? So y'all are together. There's a couple of rumors circulating, so I want you to clear them up. Was Keith at the wedding?
No, sir, he was not.
Okay.
So we're blessed, man. Our wedding went viral. It was crazy. I was,
Beautiful. Oh
low.
man.
Yeah, man. A lot of celebs follow me now. It's crazy, man. I didn't even know. Like, it's we blessed from it, bro. It is, but we haven't even honeymooned yet, so it's crazy. We went to Cabo, man. I told Keith like shortly after the show, like I was in therapy mode, right? Keith was never invited to the wedding. First of all, I invited him to the wedding, right? And I rescinded the invitation shortly after. Like
Okay.
when I say shortly after, like I invited him 2 weeks later. I was like, you know what, bro, this is not a good look. Because I started processing after the fact, right? Because in the moment you can't process everything. I was like, wait a minute, he said he would want to be with her. It's like, nah, it was like, no, bro. No, that's a no for me. Because I was thinking like I wanted to believe that he was saying like, listen, I'm not trying to pursue her, but I would like to be with her. But it's like, brother, like that's not a friend. That's an
Yeah.
opportunity. Like that's never gonna be. I by the way, I have two female best friends. One one that's what like my lady is cool, man. I just literally came back from Colombia from another one of my friends that get married next month, right? I was at his bachelor party. I had to spend a night in Miami at her house, and my wife didn't we don't have those type of problems, bro.
Okay.
Like that was never a problem in our relationship. That became a problem when we got in front of the cameras.
And where's this best friend? And is she single?
Yeah, well, she's a lesbian, man. But
Oh,
she's bisexual. But
okay. I was gonna
she
say, if
was
she looks like Fee, help a
she
brother
once
out.
was married.
Like,
She's bad. No, she's a baddie. She once was married, man. She was married to a woman, but she actually does like she. I can't put her business out, but she likes guys as well.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow, bro. Like, so I think I love that you just mentioned that there's trust between you two, because we chop that, like Kojo and I and other, a lot of my other guy friends, we talk about that,
Oh
opposite
man,
sex best friend, and
blood balling.
it's tricky waters, and you had it on your side and on her side. So look,
Yeah,
bro, more
man.
power to y'all.
Yeah, man, and my best friends like they are women, so they already know. Like just like I think one of y'all said it like he's a man. It may have been you. He was like he's a man, so he knows like the protocol to address it, like to approach when if you have a girl best friend, you're not about to overstep as a man. You're gonna do everything the right way, which is why I
Yeah.
was telling you Keith was reaching out to me. Hey, let's go hang out. Blah 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 blah. And I was never gonna hang out with him, but I was like, nah, I'm busy, bro. You know what I mean? Like I just kept it cordial with him. Just I knew if he didn't want to, it was never something that I worried about. Nobody can tell you that I once said, oh, I thought they were trying to be together, or he was trying to be with her, or that was a concern of mine. My concern was literally like, yo, dude, this show creepish behavior. I'm done with him. I know she doesn't want to be with him, but it, this is why I did not with him. It's just like on the show. Like if I would have combated with Fee, I would have never got the message across to her. Like they have to be the adult and be like, and not saying that she wasn't being an adult, but somebody has to take the back road and say, you know what, I see you
Mm-hmm.
and your feelings. I'm gonna let you get that out. You're emotional, and then I'm gonna come from a point of just listen to it this way, and eventually it'll reach you, right? And so Even now, that works in our relationship. Like she sometimes I'm at 10 and she's at 2. You see what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it painted her to like she's the only one that's always turned out. That's not the case, bro. I'm an Aries. She's a Leo. We're both fire signs. So anybody that knows us knows like we butt heads. So it's like an alpha male and an alpha woman in the house, man. That's as a hierarchy. She follows me. She trusts me to lead. I'm blessed. She's a strong-minded individual, but at the same time she makes mistakes just like I make mistakes.
No, that's dope, man. And just to go back to the fact that, and for the fact that you were divorced, and then a lot of guys, and I got a group of friends that have a podcast, and they're all divorced, and most of them don't want to be married again. I'm on the rarer side where I'm open to getting married again. What is it about you that was open to, get remarried?
I don't know the scripture, man, but a hard heart makes you bitter, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't. It's something in the Bible that talks about like your soul would be like salt. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to be that guy. Like I don't want to
Hmm.
be walking around with a frown on my face all the time. So knowing that I was exiting that first marriage, I was like, God, keep my heart open to let me not. But be honest with you, it was a while, man. The last time I was married before this 2021, the last time I was married before now was 2015. So it took a minute, you know what I mean? And we were only engaged a year before we got married. So it took a while, but the whole time I was with Fee, when you asked me like when I fell in love with her, like me and Fee knew we were gonna be together like week 3, bro. Being honest with you, like
Wow.
literally, she was calling me her husband, and I was like, "Whoa, slow down." Like, I took Fee to counseling month 2 of our relationship just because it was too good. I was like, "Yo, a problem will happen, and you're not always gonna be this way." And I should note that I'm also 36 and Fee is 31, so I'm
Hmm.
5 years older than Fee. Which after 30, everybody's the same age. But the point is, like, I've experienced more than she has.
Hmm.
So that fire that she once had, I used to be that young guy. I could see the mistake coming from a mile away. So it's easier to give grace in certain situations.
So, you're just like hitting on so many cylinders, bro. I feel like, you're my cousin across, over in Texas, because that was the same for me. Like I've always been a proponent of therapy. And a lot of times us brothers, we get a bad rap. Like we're the ones that don't want to go to therapy. We're not out here trying to learn from our mistakes and things like that. So, what is it in you that didn't have you stigmatized about the fact that therapy was a thing?
Because I was that guy. I was that guy. I did like my ex-wife wanted, hey, let's go to therapy. Let's go to therapy. And I went. I went to premarital, but I didn't go. And I did that because of my upbringing. The second time was more because I was divorced, and I knew premarital helped the first time, right? But it was that I was once a guy that was like, what are we going to therapy? I wasn't totally against it. It was just like I didn't understand what was the need for us to. And then once I did it and saw the importance of a mediator, it was like, oh, this is different. Like somebody else can speak. You know what I mean? Like so, I love therapy. I have to like I've told like a lot of my friends because we went. This was like, bro, you got to think about it. This was like our whole proposal was most of quarantine.
Yeah.
Like I proposed to her last August, so we were coming out of quarantine, like because Dallas is wide open. So, but like the end of the year is like kind of like when you start being able to like really go places again, right? But the before that, that's when we took the time in counseling and getting a better relationship with our family members. And it's crazy, man. Like, Fee was an advocate for me to get a better relationship with my mom and my sisters and different people in my family. And not to say that I had a bad relationship, but with my mom, it definitely needed work, right? So she was like, "Yo, you should work on that." My mom hadn't seen my daughter, for example, like my daughter was 2 years old, right? The next time my mom seen my daughter, she was 5 years old. Mind you, my daughter is 6 years old right now. So for 3 years, my mom did not see my daughter. So when Fee on the show is saying, we want you to be there for the big moments, she's talking about my daughter.
Mm.
She is talking about like engagement and stuff as well, but she literally says we would like you to make a better effort in Micah's life, which is my daughter's name. And and when I'm saying yeah, I agree with her, that we telling her like, yo, you're not being around Micah. Micah not. Like it's deeper than what the show showed. You see what I'm saying? So it was like
No, bro, I gotta go back to that. What's your daughter's name?
Micah Air. So
Man,
Micah, who,
everything.
yeah,
Now, tell it for the people that don't know.
yeah, I got you.
Tell her where you got that name.
Micah was a guy in the Bible who was a beast, but I like the meaning of Micah. Micah, who is like God, and heir is a middle name, and people think I'm saying like my heir, but the heir of salvation. But yeah,
Now, you're not holy, bro.
bro, I'm
It's
a writer, bro, so it's in me to it got to make sense to me. That's all.
come on, that is a beautiful story, and what a way to
Yeah.
flip it. With your daughter and naming her that I gotta say that like touched me, and down the line, I definitely want kids of my own. Um, But two things I want to get back to. One, we were just talking about it. So you mentioned your mom not really being around. For context, where's your mom live as opposed to
She
where
live
you live?
she lives in St. Louis. I live in Dallas, Texas. So it is a reason for the distance.
Yeah,
But my mom is not a bad mother. I'm just
yeah,
saying
yeah.
she my mom will definitely be like, yo, I'm coming and not come. And she's that type of mom. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So that for that reason, that makes her a bad mother. And like she was an amazing mother when I was growing up, but as an adult, like she's dropped the ball several times, not just for myself, but for my sisters as well. So it's like, this again, we're going to therapy. Okay, mom, well, let's have this conversation. That wasn't showed.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think parents struggle with how to stay in relationship with their adult kids. A lot of times. I too have had similar conversations with my mom, and we've had to navigate how to show up for each other, as adults. Because just like you, my mother was amazing. She was amazing growing up, and always there for me. But as an adult, we had to work through some transitions with me being married, what that looked like, what her role was, all of those things. And it's new because there's no handbook on how that should look. So I love how you colored that, and just show like, hey, listen, this is stuff we're working on, and these are real issues. And that speaks to Fee's love for you, because she's defending and talking about, hey, listen, there's I see it, because there's some opportunities. Um, so the step parent dynamic, which my ex-wife was married and had two kids from that. How did you blend that? How did you do? I'm always curious to hear people that are part of a blended family or step family dynamic. How did you, as a dad, work through that relationship with your ex-wife and your daughter, and now Fee?
Man, it was a challenge, man, especially because my ex-wife didn't want to end the marriage, and I did. So, she was doing the whole, I hate this term, but the baby mama drama, right? So that she was doing that whole thing, and not being able to see my daughter at 2 weeks at a time, or it's way better now. And honestly, Feet owns a dance company, right? And my daughter started going to that dance school. Uh, Probably like she didn't get to meet my daughter until like 6 months later, right? Because I that's something I take very serious. But as soon as she met her, like they clicked, man. They clicked. Like Fee has this thing like where she gets tired and she'll start rubbing your elbows. Like she hasn't shook it since she was a kid. So my daughter literally grabbed her and started doing that to her. And it was like, yo, they were in sync from the start. And she started going to dance with her or whatever. And at first my ex-wife was like, yo, who is this? What's going on? Whatever. And I knew I was already marrying this girl, but my ex-wife who didn't want me to get a divorce doesn't
Mhm.
want to hear that. So, I just kept her at a bay for a while, and not that I was dating her. She was dating the whole time. Like she actually had a baby a month before we got married. So everything's good. But fast forward, man, Fee came into my life. I see my daughter. We have 50-50 custody. I see my daughter literally 1 week on, 1 week off. And I can call her whenever I want to. They have a great relationship. Her and Fee talk. more than I do. I'm talking about my ex-wife and Fee. They talk more
Nice.
than I talk to my ex-wife. So that, which is how I wanted it, because I didn't want to talk to my ex-wife because I was mad about what she would do with my daughter. But we're all over that. We're past that. So it was hard, man. It wasn't easy. I can tell you that it took time, but I just stay, strong in my prayer life. I guess that's my superpower, so to speak. Like you know, asking for what I want and doing the work to make sure it happens.
Yeah, no, I love that, and it is definitely interesting to see how people navigate that, and I think and I love to hear when there's success stories, right? And it sounds like you have one now. Your daughter now has a new sibling too, which is great.
Yeah,
And your ex-wife and Fee are all working together because it's Micah that has you two bonded for life pretty much. So I love how, I love to hear those stories. We'll hear tidbits of that when it works out. Thank you for sharing that part because, listen, I know that's close to your heart. So when you think about like everything from the what aired on TV, what we kind of talked about, in our time together. Is there something that you would want to share? Something you feel like didn't come out, or do you feel at peace with everything at this point with how things transpired? Obviously,
that's a great
absent
question.
peace perspective.
That's a great question, man. Like when I went into the show, I told you, like, my mindset was not, I wasn't going to be arguing with people or whatever, and I didn't want to. We seen that enough in our culture, man. So I didn't
Mhm.
want to be that guy. As well as I my mindset was like, yo, this is therapy. I know there's cameras or whatever, but to make it make sense to myself, it's just I'm getting paid to go to therapy. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah.
Um, I basically, the message I would like to send to men, like especially us, like which I thought was going to be shown, was take accountability for your actions. Like like they kept trying to make me war with Fee on the show, right? They get like, go back at her, like, and I'm like, I would never do that to her. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care what, I can handle whatever she throws at me, but I'm not going to do that to her, because whatever the issue is, like, we could call that thing a thing as long as we want to, but we are not gonna get over that in 3 days. So I'm doing that for your benefit, not mine. So we'll address this when it's real. But in having that approach, I took a lot of darts. And I was in that moment though, I was, hey, yeah, I need to be better here. I need to be better here. I need to be better here. No excuses. I would like to be more consistent here. And that's what I wanted to portray more than anything. Like, as a man, you have to lay down your sword, so to speak, so that you can protect your family. I know that sounds a little crazy, but put your pride to the side and man up.
No,
Whatever it is,
yeah.
if it's something that you're guilty about, like that dark, deep down secret, facing it is more liberation than that than anything, bro.
No, I think that's dope, man. And I think you pinned it perfectly. And I think that's the writer and the poet in you, because yeah, laying down the sword doesn't always mean what we think it means. Sometimes, us as men, we might hear that and think that that means literal violence, right? But that could be putting yourself and your family in greater jeopardy. And also, big picture, what's that going to look like, right?
Right,
And
right.
for yourself, you guys, this is playing out on the television screen for millions of people to see, right? So your restraint is admirable, bro, and that's why I know certain shows. It's like, I don't know if I could do it, and not to say, listen, I would, do anything wild. I think I just
Right.
might have to be. I might be the person that the production gets so upset with, because I'm like, I'm out, I'm
No,
done.
it was moments like that. I'm not gonna lie. It was moments
Mhm.
like that. I was like, you know what? Y'all stay here and talk about this. I'm out, bro. Not
Yeah,
to leave the house, but I like go walk off, go to the restroom or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But we mic'd up the whole time, so they can hear me like talking to myself, like, yo, this some lame ass shit. Like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, and so they would come out of nowhere, like, yo, wait, let's stay on topic, because they were told I was a hothead, which I have been in my past. I'm not shying away from that. Like, I have been and can be. You know what I mean? But when you're trying to evolve as a man, bro, like the little boy shit, you don't have time for it no more. Like I'm in the right circle of friends. I'm at the table. Like my grandmother used to say, character gets you in the door, charisma. I'm sorry, charisma gets you in the door, but character keeps you at the table, right? So
Yeah.
like I'm not. I don't want you to question my character. I want you to know, like, this is who you're going to get every time. My mom says a man should be stable in all his ways, right? The Bible says that. Like, you can't be wavering, shifty, and you trying to lead a family, bro. Like, it's going to be this. Like, my friends that were on the show, the two guys, they were like, bro, do you hear this? Like, can you, like, bro, are you? I'm like, listen, man, I knew this already. Like, this is what Keith and Terrence went to school together as well. So Terrence is normally in real life like he's the fun over the top guy, but he's super political because he's cool with everybody, right? So, but the guy, the light skinned bald guy that was on the side of me is my guy. Like he's my
Mhm.
best man at my wedding. Terrence was in my wedding as well, but I've been knowing him the longest than anybody in that room outside of my mom, right? So he was just like, bro, he was like he was like, if you like it, I love it. But are you? He was like, they didn't know what to expect, bro. Like that,
Mhm.
nobody there knew that. We all thought the same thing until Keith started saying what he said, and it was like, oh wow. So when I say, yo, that's cute, like I'm like, it's like, what are you talking about? Like the favors, like she calls him for favors or whatever, bro. And this is not the shit on him. My wife is gonna tell you the same shit. Like even if I'm not here, this is it, he'll tell you that this happened. I told you my wife owns a dance company, right? She was doing a fundraiser for a barbecue. Keith is known as a grill master, right? Everybody goes to Keith for barbecue. I'm just using my friend's service in her mind. She's not calling him for a favor. But to double down on this, he does not cook this, and the meat is bloody as shit. I'm talking about brisket, it's like stuff like this,
You can't
ribs,
mess
stuff
that
like,
up. Come on.
bro. He did what happened was he went partying and the fire went out, right? But this is like we dropped the food off to him at like 6 p.m. We came back to get it at like 2 in the morning. You see what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
we as we were like cutting it, we were like, yo, she was making like chopped beef for like what do you call those things? The sandwiches and the loaded
Like a
potatoes and
brisket
all that.
sandwich. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so she's making pulled pork, chopped beef, whatever you call it. But make a long story short, it's bloody, literally, like it's nothing but blood in it. So I have to go buy a barbecue pit, bro, the next
Hmm.
day. And now, mind you, I have a sedan, my old, and she has an SUV. We have to rent a U-Haul, buy a barbecue pit, just so I could come home and cook all of this. I'm up. She needs this the next day, mind you. So I'm literally up until the event starts, cooking his food. So that's the favor he's
This is
talking
the
about.
favor that he's
This
talking about.
this the second favor he's talking about. Now I'm in corporate America. I don't know what this guy does, but he has a truck, right? So she wanted him to move trophies out of her old studio. She gets him and another guy. She calls them to do it. I'm at work. I'm not leaving my job to go move trophies last minute. You see what I'm saying? So she calls him to move the trophies. He moves the trophies. He sits them outside the studio, bro. Literally, he doesn't even use his truck. This is why she called him, because of his truck, to bring him to our house. He doesn't do that. He literally takes the trophies, sit them outside of the studio, and I come back with two of my coworkers again, rent a U-Haul, put all the trophies. Can literally walk downstairs right now, bro. In my storage, it's nothing but trophies in there. These are the favorites he's talking about. This is what I mean, like when his back is up against the wall and he's just making shit up as he goes. He's like, "What favors, bro? Like those are the two favors he's talking about." And she's called him now. She's called him before I existed for favors, but that hadn't. It's nothing I knew about. You see what I'm saying? But he phrased it as, I'm inserting myself in their situation where he calls her for a favor. I have a problem with it, but I wouldn't have a problem with somebody calling. She's calling a reliable source for something that she's always called you for, whether I existed or not. Why would I have a problem with you helping my lady? That's stupid.
So you inserted yourself to fix what he didn't
Yeah,
do.
that's
That's
why I'm like, bro,
that's
I
the
inserted
part.
myself
Like
in my
I
own
think
problem.
that's what we were triggered by. It was like this dude. now mind you, we didn't even know the full context, but just
The
hearing him
temerity of this guy.
talk, it was like, what are you talking about, my dude? Like,
The
how do you
audacity.
put these things together? Like, oh, come
Yeah,
on.
man.
So,
Yeah, man.
last question about Keith, because that dude got enough airtime. Is Keith still around today?
That's
Please.
the other thing, bro. That's the other thing. He was never around, bro. Like we talked to Keith maybe like every 3 months, every 4 months.
Okay.
What happened was this: what happened, man. So in casting, they're asking us in an indirect way, as they're family members that we take issue with, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if is it somebody that you would like to bring on the show to work out X, Y, and Z or whatever, and spur of the moment, I'm like, yo, what about dude I just got into an argument with? Your best friend. Like, because she called him that, now she got to stand on it, but that's not really her best friend. You see what I'm
Got it.
saying? So it's just like a college phrase, like a fun, like, I had besties in college, bro. I don't even talk to them. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're not
Yeah,
really
yeah.
my best friend. I told her to watch that, but it is what it is. That was her best friend to her. I didn't argue. Because had I did that, then I was the insecure guy. So I just let her believe whatever it was. But fast forward, bro, Keith lives in DC. We live in Dallas. We
Uh,
never see Keith, bro.
oh, okay.
We never see Keith. He did used to live in Dallas though, but he doesn't. And at that time, even when we got into it, he didn't live in Dallas.
Gotcha. Has he since apologized to you, apologized to Fee about
He did. He
everything?
did. He apologized on the show. He apologized after the show. He called me and apologized. Even when I
Okay.
told him he couldn't come to the wedding, he was like, "Yo, I totally understand." And
Okay.
and at that time, I didn't even know when the show was going to air. And I was like, "Bro, if people see what you did on TV, like, it's no way I can save you. Like, is it like that? Nobody's going to, because it's even now people be like, yo, you want me to beat him up for you? Like, childish shit. Like, I'm
Yeah,
like, yo,
yeah.
I'm not on that, bro. I'm not on that. Like, that's not how I'm moving. Like, it's not even beef between him and I. Like, if I start Keith right now, I speak and we'll keep moving. Like, it was always that though. It was never. You see what I'm saying? It was never a big thing. It wasn't a. It's so much other shit that I could say that I'm not, but it was
Right,
never
right.
the issue, bro. It was never really an issue. Now her and Keith's relationship, yeah, they went to college together. They were cool as shit. You see what I'm saying? Like, they were friends. Um, Keith, this now, mind you, we got married before the show dropped, right? The show dropped 9/11. We got married on August the 21st. Keith never called and said congratulations. Never sent her a text. None of that,
Mm,
bro. And it's just like, my guy, like, it was never genuine in my opinion.
gotcha. So the good news is he's in DC, hopefully with no plans to move back to Dallas.
Even if he was in Dallas, brother, that man wouldn't have a chance in hell. Period. But I'm telling you,
Gotcha.
if I didn't exist, it wouldn't.
It wasn't
It was
going
not,
anywhere anyway. So I
brother.
think that's from what I'm hearing. That's why it wasn't an issue for you, and in her
Yeah,
mind
it
at the
was.
time, it wasn't an issue for her because she knew there was
She
never
was a
going to be
she
anything.
she was offended that I would think like that, right? If that was
Hmm.
the issue, like that, he was trying to be respectful when, I mean, disrespectful when he's never tried to be. She's never saw him that way. She couldn't bring herself to seeing him that way, right? As well as I'm offended that she can't see how I'm looking at it. So,
Yeah.
the crazy thing is, bro, we had just got a certificate for counseling, and like, so we had finished counseling, premarital counseling by this point. And I believe if that was an issue, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be here right now, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even think that would be an issue.
So, for me, it motivates me as I think about, the dating scene, getting married again, that sometimes certain things I just have zero tolerance. But hearing you and your perspective, you can work through some things, right? You just got to pick that struggle. Can't be a million struggles. But for what I'm hearing is
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
you
Just
saw this
build.
as the major opportunity in your communication, not about Keith, but communication, how to handle the relationship, how to make decisions when there's an issue. You guys saw that as an opportunity to work through that.
Yeah, of course, man. I know my personnel. It was never about trust with her. It was more so about internal issues. You see what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So it was. I could care less, bro. I don't. man, I was on Twitter getting my eyebrows. I'm a pussy, whatever.
Yeah,
She
yeah,
wears the pants. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is, man. We knew what we were signing up for. We love it. We having fun with it. We laugh at it. You know what I mean? She was pissed. She was pissed. She was more so mad because she was like, "Yo, you coming across as the good guy, but you just as hot headed as I am." I'm like, "Nah, not really." But we joke about it, man. We clown about it. I love it. We having fun. It is what it is. She deserves all of it. I always tell her, like, had you listened to me, I even tell her on the show. Now you're forced to defend something you should have never had to.
yeah,
Like, it's for me, it's subtle jabs, bro. We'll build up to the knockout. But that's why, like she was like people now say like I manipulated his words, I twisted his words. That's the backlash. That's the the negative things I get. But anybody with sense is seeing that I'm not manipulating the truth. Like he's saying these things. And I tell him like, bro, I'm defining what you're saying. Like you're trying to that like he said the whole thing about he tried to hurt me. I forgot how he phrased that. He hurt me. He was trying to hurt me. I forgot what he said, but.
hmm
I forgot how he phrased it, but
with the whole
I
kiss
told him
thing. You
no.
talking about
He said
how he brought that out?
I forgot how he said it, man.
Hmm
It was like their climax scene, like when we talk
hmm
1-on-1, right? We outside in the chairs, and he said something about um, I was trying to hurt you, and I'm in my mind, I'm like, bro, you don't know me well enough to even know how to hurt me. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like you gotta have something on me to like you gotta say something about my daughter or a close family member or fee something like that. Like you don't even know the tools it would take to hurt me, and even then you wouldn't even know that I'm hurt. Like I'm
right.
not that easily hurt. But I tell him like you're trying to hurt me to get to her. Like I forgot what I told him, but make a long story short, I termed it as like you used her as collateral damage, right?
Yeah,
And he was like, yeah, if you want to say that, like I've been told like not by a lot of people, like most people are like, it just is what it is. That's exactly how I saw it. But I've been told like I twisted his words or something like that or whatever. And no, bro, that's the definition of collateral damage. Like
yeah.
you didn't give a shit if she was an innocent bystander. You were trying to get to me. It is what it is. But I I it, I don't know what to say, bro. I don't know what else to
Yeah, no,
say on that.
I think you navigated it right, and listen, there's nobody's perfect, but in my opinion, you handled that in the best possible way that you could, and at the end of the day, you still salvaged your relationship and saw the value in the big picture of the woman that you loved. So I think all of that together is a beautiful testament of what you and her have together, which is awesome. So as we kind of wrap things up in terms of because I want to leave some room on the table for you and Fee to chop it up with Kojo and myself down the line. But when I think about some of the things you talked about and what you do, what would you say is your passion? I know you have a 9 to 5, but you mentioned poetry, you mentioned writing. What's Daryl's passion?
Man, personally, I mean, that's a long list of things, bro. But man, that's a lot. um, Peace is my passion, man. Like whatever brings me peace, that's the ultimate success. Being peaceful. Um, like letting people see God in me is a passion.
Mm-hmm.
That's my form of ministry. Like if you get 10% of God, like and you didn't know him, like and you saw him in me, cool. You know what I mean? That's the passion because you can't just force God on people, but
Of
that's the
course.
passion that I have. Um, my family, bro, like my and specifically my daughter and my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Very passionate about them. They're weak spots for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't talk about my daughter sometimes without crying. Like, well,
Yeah.
not crying, but like I'll get teary eyed.
Of course.
Uh, yeah, I mean, writing is more so like a passion project, so to speak. Like
Okay.
I'm in that moment in that time capsule. I'm passionate about it, but yeah, man, just on the in general, those are the things I'm passionate about.
Awesome. So, like, did you when because a lot of people will come on a show like that, Family or Fiance or reality shows, with a goal in mind. Is there something that you're promoting, something you're doing out there that everyone should know about, or something that's coming up down the line for you?
Yeah, man, we got some things, but like I'll wait till Fee's here because I
Okay.
don't want to. I will tell you that night one, that conversation we talked about, like it was a 12-hour conversation.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about like where we want to take our relation. It's like bro, it was instant. Like, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this, and I want to do this. I want to have a platform to do this. So this is why we jumped at this opportunity. So I'm gonna be honest with you, to give us a certain notoriety or a cachet, some will say, whatever it was, but to bring a light on the content we want to give. So that is definitely something. Uh, as well as we both own businesses. Her and I together own S&S Estates. That's not really has nothing to do with passion. That's just business. Um, but Impress Yourself is a brand that I have, man. It's like spiritual fitness, so to speak. Like more so like worshiping, meditation, working out. It's this is something I do like all the time. But other men are like motivated by it. Women are motivated by it, and it's something I'm gonna continue.
All right.
So Impress Yourself. My last, if you see like that's my IG name, right? You see Size,
Mm-hmm.
SYAS.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody calls me Size. It's pronounced like SIZE. So that's last size left, right? It's a play on words, but Impress Yourself is spelled with that same play of words. So it would be IMPRESSYAS, my name,
Mm-hmm.
ELF.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is that a website or that's through
No,
social
no, no.
media?
This is something I'm building right now. This
Oh,
was something I was
awesome.
building before we got married, and I had to stop because bro, imagine like all of this stuff going on, and you can't do anything because you sign papers and all of this type of shit. So
Got you. So, for anybody that's interested, where could they reach out to you, if they're
right,
interested in connecting and
my
finding out
my
more?
IG my social media is all the same everywhere.
Okay.
Um, we have a YouTube page that we're working on right now. I think we're up to almost over 350 subscribers. I don't know. We just started that 3 weeks ago. So
Yeah, with
we
no
did
content, no less, and you
no
guys already got
content, no
350.
content, no content, man. We
That's
got
dope.
we working on it. We've shot like three vlogs already, but we got some cool stuff coming, man.
No, man, that's awesome. So what I'll do is, again, I'll put it down in the description box for everybody. Your IG, the link to you and Fee's YouTube channel, and you'll leave me with anything else that you might want the people to have, so they can reach out to you for any future business endeavors down the line. Ladies, unfortunately, he's married, so it's business only. I don't want Fee coming for me. I don't want Fee holding me accountable
Yeah, well,
because
she's definitely with the smoke, man. Wait till y'all meet her. She's
I
all
don't want
smoke,
none of
bro.
it.
Yeah, man. I had fun, man. Thanks for having me again, and congratulations to you, sir. It was amazing, man. You're good at this. You'll go
Nah,
far.
thank you, thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you, chopping it up. This is,
Oh,
this
bro.
is what we do here. Just have conversations, get to know people, hear perspectives. So,
Yeah,
definitely
I don't.
appreciate you.
You're freezing, but I don't know if you can hear me.
I hear you.
Uh,
I hear you. Go ahead,
oh,
Daryl.
connection.
Did I lose you, Daryl? All right. I think I lost Daryl, but everybody again, just want to thank Daryl for showing up. More good content coming. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You got all of Daryl's contact information coming in the description box, him and Fee's page, his IG, and all that great stuff. Appreciate you chopping it up on Shawn Unfiltered, where we have great dialogue, and we really chop it up here. So appreciate you again,
But
Daryl, and looking forward to hearing everything else you got coming down the line in the
I,
future.
Yeah, thank you, man. I don't know. Can you hear me right now?
I hear you now. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I was telling you congratulations. I think you did a great job, man. You're gonna go forward with this. It was on.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Also, oh, by the way, on the show, man, I'm actually wearing my merch. Impress yourself at the table scene as a blue shirt. You can only see orange, my name in orange, but
Hmm.
it's white letters and orange letters on that shirt.
Oh, so you got merch that people can buy that?
Yeah, yeah. I
All
have a
right, so
Shopify, man. Yeah, it's yeah.
definitely, I'll drop that. I'll also put that in the description box.